We crave stability, structure, and safety as human beings. We like to have some kind of an inkling of how things are going to work out, knowing that a situation is a safe place for us to be. What we have right now, though, is a whole different story. And today's podcast, I'm talking about how we can create stability and peace in an unstable world. Let's get into it. You're listening to the Soul Aligned Self-Care Podcast. I'm your host, Tina Stinson, and I had a stroke at the age of 39 from stress and burnout that shook my world. Now I'm laying it all out, the deep level self-care practices and mindset shifts that I needed that kept me healthy, balanced, and thriving. Join me in this intimate space as we explore healing, resilience, and the soul's journey to alignment. This is where real conversations about deep-level self-care happen. Let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm back. Welcome back to the Soul Aligned Self-Care Podcast. If you're new here, I just want to welcome you and tell you that I really appreciate you hanging out with me for however long this podcast is going to be, and for all those people who come back every week and return and hang out with me, I want to thank you also. It means the world to me. Today I'm talking about creating stability and peace in an unstable world. And I've had a couple of different podcast episodes kind of on this topic, but I'm going to give you some real action steps that you can take in order to kind of create this little inner calm space for yourself where you can feel comfortable. Like I said at the beginning, we crave stability, structure, and safety as human beings. And so just creating that for yourself, no matter what the outside is doing. And now it's never going to be perfect, but we could do our very best, right? And before I get started, I just want to remind you this week, so starting on August 11th, which was yesterday, I started the 5-day gentle self-care reset on my Patreon page. So if you want to get little tidbits of self-care every day, that's the place to do it. So I will definitely put the link in the show notes for you so that you could check that out if you'd like. Now, let's get into today's episode. We live in a world right now where there doesn't seem to be any rules, or they change daily. It's crazy. What we once knew as like something that was normal, the things that we could expect, has turned into anything and can and will happen. I really feel like nothing could surprise me right now. They could say, pink aliens have just landed on Earth and they're handing out blow pops to everybody. I would be like, yeah, that's how that checks out, And so I feel like we need to create our own rules, structure, values, whatever you want to call it. So how do we do that? How do we find comfort, calm, and peace in a world where it seems like there's no rules? And the so-called people in charge are behaving badly and making up their own rules as they go, the ones that will serve them mostly. So this constant uncertainty puts us in a state of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. Because as I said, what do we crave? We crave stability, structure, and safety. And the more that you tune into it, this stress or these constant emergencies every day, the more you're tuned into it, the more stressed you will feel. And I am perfect proof of that. As soon as I started tuning out of the media, I noticed my stress levels went down almost immediately. Today, I want to share some other things that you could do to help you feel grounded in the world that just seems like it's trying to shake us all off the surface. That's what it feels like to me. And starting off, the first thing, and this is, I would say, the most important thing, is to know that the only person that you have control over is yourself. So one of the best things you could realize in this situation is that you can choose what you expose yourself to. You get to choose whether to react or respond, right? So if you want to live in a world where you're constantly reacting and, sucking the air out of the room, clutching your pearls, that's going to keep you in a state of fight or flight. If you want to learn how to respond, then this is a good way to get started. You can choose to see the world in a way that supports you instead of letting someone else write the narrative of the story for you, okay? This isn't just the first step. This is the most important one, as I said. Knowing that you have the power in your hands to create the narrative of your own experience, that changes everything. So let's start talking about how we can make it a good experience, okay? So the first thing I'm going to talk about, I've talked about before, but I'm going to do it again. And really, this does relate to last week when I talked about scrolling on your phone. Choose what you expose yourself to. Start paying attention to what you consume in the media. Are you watching the news every day? What TV shows, what movies do you watch? Who are the people you spend time with? What emails land in your inbox? What social media fills your feed? And this is really important. It's not about putting your head in the sand. It's not about ignoring what's going on. It's about really tuning into the resources that are going to create the narrative, the truthful narrative, instead of, this is the perfect example. So I have the weather app on my phone and I have the alerts turned on because I'm a runner. And when there's a passing thunderstorm, which seems to just kind of pop out of nowhere lately, I like to know about it so I don't get struck by lightning. So I keep my alerts on. Now, one of the things I noticed in the past year or two is that the weather apps have bought into that fear mongering motive that, gets that attention. They want those clicks. So they actually started naming thunderstorms, right? And then I'm getting alerts to natural disasters all over the world. And I'm like, no, I just want to know if there's going to be lightning, in my area or some kind of a storm in my area. And so what this does is it's constantly bombarding me with these alerts of these terrible, terrible things, even things like car accidents. And I'm just like, this has nothing to do with the weather. Sometimes it does. But that is just a perfect example. So I notice my father watches the news and it's really the same thing every day. The stories really don't change that much. It's mostly the same things over and over every day. There is a reason that they call this information programming, because it is programming you. So take your power back, take the reins of what you consume, because it makes a big difference. Choose reliable news sources. Don't watch the news more than once a week. It's unnecessary to constantly expose yourself to a lot of scary, upsetting things, okay? You could stay in the loop once a week. You don't really, if something bad happens, someone's going to tell you. Don't worry about it. You and I both know that. The social media is a perfect example. You have complete control over who you follow, what you look at, how much time you spend on there. Same thing with TV. Who else has noticed that there's a real lack of feel-good movies and TV shows? It's all like true crime, disasters, Armageddon, the end of the world. I'm like, can we have some feel-good movies here? Like, can we have a few? I am constantly searching. Sometimes I have to go back to the 90s to watch some feel-good movies. It's, you have to be really intentional about it. And the same thing with your email, just start unsubscribing from things that you don't want to see. You don't have to expose yourself to these things. It all starts with awareness. As I said, there is a reason why they call all this stuff programming. The best thing you could do for your mental and physical health is to stop watching the news. That's like a great first step. Then look at everything else you take in and ask, does this make me feel good or bad? It's really that simple. Pay attention to how it makes you feel. Now, once again, I'm not saying to put your head in the sand and pretend nothing's going on, though sometimes that sounds really, really nice. I'm saying create your own narrative instead of letting someone else do it for you. Because the people in charge, they benefit from us being in a state of fear, lack, and chaos, because people are easier to control when they're feeling that way. It's sad, but it's true. So you need to create your own inner calm by controlling the narrative. And as I said, remember, those so-called people in charge, they do not have your best interest in mind, okay? The next thing that you could do, create your own set of rules and morals, okay? We all know right from wrong. Basically, the majority of us, I'm talking really, I'm not being specific here. The majority of people know what right from wrong is. We know how to be nice. We know that we should treat people the way we want to be treated. Okay. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who don't think this way, but I really do feel like the majority of people know this. Understand that most humans want the same things. Like, just think of it this way. All people, for the most part, all over the world, every nationality, we all want safety, security, and happiness, right? And even though, like, the laws change and shift every day, we still know what right from wrong is. So do the right thing, be kind, help your neighbor, treat the planet with respect, and just be a good human. It really can be that simple. Just because the people in charge act like they're living in the movie The Purge doesn't mean that we have to mimic them, okay? Like, what I see a lot of going on in the news or someplace out, like wherever, what you see, or you may experience this personally like I have, is people behaving badly because they can get away with it, okay? I've definitely seen an increase in violence against women and against obviously immigrants, right? So you definitely see a rise in this, and it's because the people in charge are almost like condoning it, saying it's okay in some way, shape, or form, just by the acts that they're taking and the language that they're using, okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that all the people in charge are behaving badly, but let me tell you something, majority of them are. We have a choice. What did our parents used to say? When we left the house as teenagers, make good choices. Okay. Just do that. Don't pay attention to, what the people in charge are doing, because they're just not setting a good example. Be better than them. We outnumber them. Let's create something better. We don't have to follow their narrative. We don't have to follow their system. The next thing that we could do is, and this is very important also, is take care of our nervous system. I've had to really up my own game here. So, as you know, in the past, I've struggled with my blood pressure, and it went up really high. I managed to get off blood pressure medicine and lower my blood pressure. Well, it went up again. I am back on blood pressure medicine, I am sad to say, but it's very important to keep your blood pressure at a healthy level. That's more important than worrying about taking different medicines. I don't like taking pills, but I will do what's important to keep my body healthy. And so I've definitely had to step up my self-care game. I noticed my body slipping into that fight or flight mode far too often. So by taking the steps above that I talked about already, and then deepening your self-care practices, that will help you feel better. It's helped me feel better. So check in with yourself daily and ask yourself, what do I need today? Okay, maybe it's breath work to calm the nervous system. Maybe it's meditation to connect with yourself and to get grounded. Maybe it's some movement like yoga, a walk in nature, even a run, swimming, whatever makes you feel better. Dancing in your living room. Movement helps you release energy. It helps energy move through your body. It's so important. Maybe you need a tech break, okay? Maybe you need some time in nature. Feed your soul. Care for your nervous system. It's so important, especially right now. We have to be proactive with our self-care. We need more care. We need more joy. We're being exposed to so much negativity. It's almost like we have to counter that with, it's not about being positive all the time. It's about taking care of yourself so that you feel balanced and grounded and healthy. So if you want help with this, I am going to put a link to my self-healing bundle in the show notes, which just has different somatic practices. It has links to meditations. Also, I talked about my Patreon. I do all different kinds of somatic practices and deep level self-care, things to help you regulate your nervous system over there. We do fun stuff too. We do like journal prompts, card pulls. We do moon journaling. So it's a cool place. So talking about fun, that's the last thing. Okay. Don't let everything that's going on right now bring you down, right? It's only natural to feel horrible about the things that we're seeing going on in the world right now. But I think the biggest, most powerful way we can protest against what's going on and resist what's going on is to keep ourselves grounded and balanced, keep our nervous systems, taken care of, and having more fun, living in our purpose, which includes fun. I know it's really hard right now. We're all working really hard, right? We're all on edge, but ask yourself, what brings me joy? What makes me happy? And if you can't answer that question, then that's definitely a sign that you need this exercise. So I have a little journaling exercise for you. I do this in all of my courses. I do this with most of my clients, my private clients. Grab a piece of paper and write down 100 fun things that you want to do in the next 1 to 5 years. Okay. Now, I just want to warn you, this is not easy. I've never made it to 100 actually, but maybe you will, maybe you'll make it to 100. But it's okay if you don't. This is meant to be like an ongoing list. Add to it when you think of something really cool, cross things off when you've done them, or maybe you've even changed your mind. Include big dreams and all kinds of different small pleasures. Start today, and when you need more fun, look at your list. This is supposed to be inspirational. It's supposed to help you build momentum. It's supposed to remind you to have fun. And all you have to do is take one small step towards one of those things. You don't have to get it done that day. You just have to say, oh, look at this. On my list, I want to take a trip to somewhere, Japan. Japan is someplace I want to go. I also want to go to Italy. So how can I take one small step? I could learn about the area. Where do I want to go? Create an itinerary, create a list of places I want to visit when I go there. Find out what airfare is like. Where do I fly into? Where do I leave from? What's the best time of the year to go? There's so many little steps that you could take to help work towards that one thing. I always joke around because I put silly things on my list. One of the things I had on there was to get a lemon tree. Now, I still don't have a lemon tree, but I do have a lime tree, and I'm very excited about it. It has 3 or 4 good sized limes on it, and it has flowers. And I have to bring it in the winter because it's cold where I live, but I'm excited. It supposedly creates limes inside and outside, so you don't have to have it outside at all. You could just have it inside. And so I'm excited to have my own lime tree where I can go pick a lime and just have a lime. I'm very excited about that. So it's little things like that make me happy. And then one of the silliest things I've ever put on my list, and I usually share this with everybody just to make people realize that it doesn't have to be some elaborate thing that you put on here, is I just wanted all new socks. And there's so many different reasons why I wanted socks, and I'm not going to get into it. But one of the reasons right now is I just want cotton socks. I don't want synthetic socks. I want cotton socks. So that is my new thing. Anyway, so silly, right? But it's on my 100 list because it would actually make me really happy. Very happy. Socks make me happy. Funky socks make me happy. So there you go. So remember, small steps done consistently over time create really big transformations. So don't think that small steps aren't going to make a difference. They do. They give you small wins, which creates momentum, and then it creates big transformations. Small steps are one of the best ways to get started with anything. They build confidence, momentum, and joy, okay? So don't hold back. Create your 100 list. So let's go over these things really quickly, okay? The first thing is that know that the only person that can control you and control your narrative is you. You're responsible for that. And choose what to expose yourself to, all different types of media, including music, TV, social media, people you hang out with, stuff like that. Create your own set of rules and morals, which is basically not for you to go haywire. What I mean is we all know right from wrong. Follow the rules that you know right from wrong. Be a good human. And don't, join the people in charge right now that are, as I said, living in the movie The Purge, okay? Take care of your nervous system. Very important. Check in with yourself daily. If you need help with this, as I said, come over to my Patreon. There's so many different self-care practices that I share on there. And it's a weekly reminder for you to take care of yourself. I do a weekly self-care practice, a weekly card pull, a weekly meditation. We do lots of things. We always have journal prompts. Okay, so it's a really great place to be reminded to take care of yourself. And lastly, but not least, have more fun. Create that 100 list. Get into it. Have fun with it. Take your reins back. This is how you do it. This is how you create calm in the middle of chaos. As I said, if you want more support, you can join me over on my Patreon, but also I have a Soul Aligned Self-Care Intensive, which is all the deep work that you need to do to really heal your nervous system. If you're really in a state of burnout and recovering from maybe some trauma, sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. This is the place to do it. So I'll put a link to that also in the show notes that you could check it out if you like. Okay, this is good timing. I'm losing my voice. I'm getting off. Love you. See you next week.